The first part of next week's video, which is very long, is already up on Nebula right now in case you want to get a sneak peek. And if you haven't seen Blue Eye Samurai yet, it gives you a full week to watch it, but you can watch the show and then go watch the first part of the video by signing up for Nebula.
It started with Blade, and it ended with him.
At this point, everyone recognizes this voice, but back in the day, it was only a select few of us who knew about them abs. Detective vamps. Just in case you weren't 100% sure these were vamps, they really told that, son. Parker Posey has a disgusted face like no other, and the vampire teeth pushing out her cheeks at a whole new level in this movie. What an intro to the King Daddy Vamp and Blade's true comic nemesis. D heads a dude and the monster crawls out of a hole. Slow-mo backflip into behind the back no-look kill, he's back. Also, Blade uses his new get over here hook way better than Scorpion ever does. We're not messing around in this opening fight. Blade jumps a car with his car, hits the NOS, giving us that fast-forward sped-up effect from the first Blade, and then hits the brakes and he flies right by. Over. Even as the audience, it seems like this goon just ducks quick enough to avoid the UV, not that he's actually human. And the atmosphere around this feels different. With the woman screaming, we can tell something isn't right. Blade doesn't usually have a human audience.
Now apparently, an anonymous citizen captured the whole event on video.
It probably sounds totes normal to you kids, but see, in 2004, phones were just barely taking pictures, so it's even weirder for a rando to have just been sitting there with a camcorder.
The humans have a new hunter.
Alright, I know this movie can be a touch camp sometimes, but Parker Posey knows what movie she's in, and I love every second of her over-the-top emo vampire chic boss lady. She's just strutting through this world, owning everyone around her. Even when she's talking about how much badder Dracula is, she's putting everyone else in their place.
Do you think we have enough security?
We didn't capture him. He allowed us to take him in.
And her entire vibe feels like, what if Parker Posey herself was actually a vampire? She's got a whole Goldblum-esque thing going on that feels like a heightened, more evil version of Parker Posey.
You worry too much, old man.
Friendship callback. This is pretty decent world building. We know there's adult vampires, and we've seen kid vamps like the one in the archives, so of course there are gonna be creepy, cringy teen vamps. The best thing about this scene is how it could so easily be Abigail's origin story rather than the trap that it actually is. She was pregnant, some vampire stole her baby, and she barely survived, vowing to never again be their victim. But nah, she's playing him and she's gonna slice him and dice him. Dope kill. Also, considering how many kicks Blade likes to do, it's a little silly he hasn't added a boot knife to his kit. For those following along at home, this is the same piece of music that played when Blade meditated right after Whistler died in Blade. So yeah, that's where that uneasy feeling is coming from. I guess I've never tried shooting a shotgun from the hip. It just seems like the trigger guard would crush your fingers without your shoulder to absorb the recoil, but hey, it's a legit tactic, and who am I to question the ultimate badass Whistler? Also, not to get all guns, but it's so funny how many misinformed Armalite rifles are purchased for home defense. Whistler knows multiple shotguns is the way to defend your vampire hunting base of operations. And exploding computers if you can swing it.
Move a finger and you're dead. How's about this one?
Badass good guy forever. Also, there's something so Whistler about him going out by blowing up a bunch of feds with his middle finger in the air. Chris Christopherson rules. Oh, also self-sacrifice.
1,182. But they were all familiars.
Whoa, I for sure thought that was the vampire count. I appreciate that he keeps track of the human toll.
How about the president? Do you know who's in the White House right now?
An asshole.
How'd he know? We have fun here on Political Wins.
Big, strapping hybrid like yourself.
What a subtle reveal that may make you question what you actually heard at first. See, Blade appreciates it.
Hi, Blade. I am such a fan. I like your tattoos. Do they mean anything?
I get that she's messing with him a bit, but just like the blood pack, he's gotta be a bit of a celebrity for her.
You're not so big.
You've apparently never talked with Whistler.
You're so big.
I love the brief moment where we think the cliche thing happened, that Blade immediately came to and threw someone through the glass, but you quickly notice Blade is still in frame and still out of it, and it's Night Stalker time!
Evening, ladies.
She just yells his name for no reason, no notes. You've seen a hallway fight, sure, but have you seen a double hallway fight? Ingenuity. I somehow missed arguably the original superhero landing that would have made Wade proud, so here's a double win for the extra tall jump, sword up in the air and everything.
Forgot my sword.
Badass good guy.
Vampires killed Whistler's family.
They did. I was born later out of wedlock.
What a weird expression that we all still use and understand, even though wedlock isn't used in pretty much any other context.
We were gonna go with the Care Bears, but that was taken. Come on, man, I'm joking.
So like, Van Wilder with a weirdly shaped beard. But also, it's obviously deliberate. We know Wade Wilson is funny. In this, he's just our anti-Blade who sticks with dry humor. Whoa, 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 whoa. Is it getting hot in here, or did Hannibal just show us an inappropriate amount of his V-line? And you know what they say. Do you? I'm not sure.
We had him!
The perfect camera move to capture that face kick.
Her fangs are located in her vagina. Moving on.
See, even he knows his jokes are out of place. The Tomb of Dracula is actually the comic where the character first appeared. Not this issue, but still.
The Babylonians worshipped him as Dagon, and now they call him Drake.
If you want to comprehend the early 2000s, listen to that line and then watch this walk. Now you understand. Although Riz's Fatal holds up, this feeding scene has always made me feel odd. The way her hand seems gentle on his arm, the pleasure-pain vampire thing has always been purposefully muddled, but I don't think she'd be having fun. But who am I to judge, I suppose?
Of course, doesn't have the range of a sword.
Ah, he's got him there.
Another human with practice could be possible.
Future CGI eye shadowing. He has his moments, this little slap down the stairs. Look at them already acting like a team. Teamwork. The palm KO. This guy was already wincing like Snipes hadn't been too kind on previous takes. Jeez, man, smashing through walls is one thing, but knocking this guy's takeout to the ground? Now I see the evil.
He died a good death. Quick. Clean. I wouldn't know anything about that.
The shade. Why kill a vamp if you can't torture them a bit is what Blade's saying, not me.
Each one of them have tasted the end of my sword. Perhaps I will too then.
You gotta love a baddie who enjoys the sport of it. Good guy Blade, catching a baby, that's where the line is.
Kuchiko.
Creepy guy, but good guy.
We're gonna lose.
And then Ryan reminds us that he's an actual actor who can make you feel stuff, like he's selling it more than the actual Dracula sells his power. Incubus with Captain Kirk from Star Trek, and Star Trek's always a win, so you know.
He hates me, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He does. Like, really. Wesley Snipes was often not on set the same days as Ryan because he disliked him so much. That's a fun fact, I think. The way her skull slides across the hood, it stops.
They'll kill me. Kill you, mother. I'll kill you.
Ah, there it is. Man never misses. They don't even take their shoes off? Also, is this like vampire sous vide?
We're doing this country a service, really.
Eugenicist says what? I mean, it checks out. Vampires are basically the physical embodiment of racism and prejudice.
There's nothing stopping them now. It's me.
Ah, good old self-confidence.
You got 20 seconds. 20.
Counting win and a murder joke, a twofer. The Whistler reveal is creepy AF, but I really love the quick shot of him blurry in the background coming down the stairs first. Possibly the biggest waste of Patton Oswalt to date, but he makes a decent corpse. Real horror feels without using straight jump scares. Good stuff. But the finger stretch might be the scariest part of the movie, especially because the little girl is the target. Ramin Djawadi never misses, but the man is elevating the scene that might even be a tad cringe without the score. You thought he was looking for love, but he was looking for blood. Reaper style.
You're tasting a little bland, lover.
Seriously, this movie is worth it just to watch Parker Posey mess with everyone.
Your hairdo is ridiculous.
There's moments in here where they let Ryan Reynolds be Ryan Reynolds, and they're the moments that work. Also, have I mentioned Ryan Reynolds' workout routine? A little redundant, honestly, because it was like the main selling point of this movie for a lot of people. Van Wilder got shredded.
I'm gonna bring the little girl in here for you to feed on.
Yeah, I can't knock a solid evil plan. Look, I'm a traditional longbow guy, I don't know much about compounds, but from everything I understand, there really isn't a way to increase the speed of an arrow as you loose it, especially by over 30%, but the scene is somehow still dope and you get the sense that she's just honing in on her release, making it smoother and cleaner, and that somehow her intensity is making her arrows more dangerous. Rule of cool, baby.
If you're watching this, I'm already dead.
The I made a video because I knew I was gonna die cliche is obviously overplayed, but also she's got a daughter and she works for vampire hunters and Dracula just came back to life. So like, of all the people who should make one, yeah, checks out.
Do you know who I am?
You're the Gnome King.
If he's the Gnome King, just make him eat an egg and the movie's over, because eggs are poison to nobody? Sorry, am I the only one whose childhood was traumatized by Return of Oz? Cool. Look at these two all synced up. Ha, because he's a wrestler. Ashler tagged him out. That's a real classic insult that just won't fly on YouTube. Sign up for Nebula to find out.
Right about now.
Optimism. Of all the lame versions of grills, Triple H's are baller.
No help here?
See? Blade couldn't even help him because they weren't there together. I'm kidding, it's actually cool because it's Blade working with a team and sticking to the plan to have Abby free Hannibal. Jessica Biel's workout routine, look at those biceps. Solid Keanu impression. Throat rip, classic Blade. Okay, I've waited long enough. The weirdest addition to Trinity is not the Night Stalkers, it's the Tron-style digitized death of vampires who all die screaming through some kind of voice warbler. I don't even hate it makes them seem even more otherworldly, it's just new. You kill enough vampires, you get used to blowing away ash so you can kill more vamps. Da Vinci would love making that thing for Ezio. Who's the assassin these days? Basim? Laterang's back. I will never get tired of that weapon. Look, even Vampire Good Boys deserve better, but his spin and land is so fluid, I can't stay mad at him. Ah, you made it cool.
You seen my dog? Have you tried the lobby?
Hints of Deadpool here and there. Which, fun fact, this is the movie that ended up leading to him doing it.
Blade. Ready to die.
Purcell gets a lot of crap for being miscast, but I honestly don't hate him as the, I don't know, he's not as threatening as Dracula should probably be, but that's not the vibe of the character anyway. He's just kind of a fish out of water who thinks Blade is a worthy adversary and also kind of cool, which he's correct about.
I was born ready, mother.
And Blade is a badass good guy. I mean, it looks super painful, but now you get to say you got body slammed by Triple H. And killed by uppercut? Yes, sir. Awesome death. We should all be so lucky to fall through things as we disintegrate. There's a lot going on here, and I remember loving it in my late teens. Huh. You ever notice how often Blade lifts his glasses off his face with his ears? Yeah, me either. Alright, that was pretty brutal. I like the Dracula's design here makes us think that something was genetically unlocked with the Reapers in Blade 2, since the mouths are very similar, albeit with a dash of Tim Curry in Legend. Both Nomak and Drake get to a point where they're messing Blade up, and it's always fun to see the underdog come back and win somehow.
Are you ready to die, motherfucker?
See, Drake thinks Blade's legit. You can't hide it. Okay, this is as dope as I remember.
Hang in there, kitten. I'll get help.
Got one last jab in.
Funny, isn't it? All this time, my people were trying to create a new kind of vampire, when one already existed.
That's one of the most brutal things the King of the Vampires could say to Blade, since his entire thing is murdering vamps. Solid way to go out.
The thirst always wins.
And yeah, at some point the score surpasses the entire movie. That moment is now. You believe now, you jerk? You would have believed Dexter.
Let's just say the FBI got their body. Just wasn't the one they were banking on.
I mean, they got literal Dracula. Seems like a fair trade. But this is the better ending. I don't acknowledge the other one, except that Wesley not opening his eyes is hilarious. But honestly, the best one is the one where the Night Stalkers are hunting werewolves. No joke. This was an alternate ending, and it's perfect. Word. What? There's a post-credits scene? It's just Blade driving his car. Gotta love that. I take back any negative thing I said. Blade is pure cinema. Blade 2 is action horror magnificence. Blade Trinity has Parker Posey in it. I'm kidding. I don't hate this movie. There are things I really dislike these days, but in my late teens, I was just stoked to see Blade back in action. Now I can feel that Snipes doesn't really seem to want to be here. Whistler shouldn't have died, and only works 30% of the time. Ryan needs to tightrope the line between lovable and hateable, and he just leaned too far into annoying frat boy at times. It's a character, so I don't blame him. He does what he can with what he's given. He also has a lot of main character energy in this, and he's not. He ends up kind of taking the spotlight away from Blade, and don't do that. Blade is awesome. He's Blade. Let Blade be Blade. The other bummer is Dracula, because he's the big bad of vampire lore, but also the big bad of the Blade comics, and I think both Lamagra Dorf and Nomak Goss could take him out easily, which isn't great. Honestly, making Parker the ultimate big bad would have been more fun, but maybe that's just me. Enough complaining. You might also be wondering why I didn't do the unrated version. Well, I think the theatrical is better. Most of the cuts made were the correct choice. Like this scream, for instance. think it's odd that it became the de facto standard. But hey, there's still a lot of great happening in this one. Chris Christopherson rules. He brought a bit of extra gravitas to the Blade films that might otherwise just be fun action horror sci-fi movies. He's the heart of the first two and the only constant for Blade as a character. In my memory, he gets killed in the first 5 minutes, but thankfully we get almost a half an hour in before he goes. I appreciate that he wasn't taken out by vampires. Of course it was the feds. Also, Chris Christopherson was in a supergroup with Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and Johnny Cash called the Highwaymen. Dude rules, end of story. Wesley Snipes seems like an odd individual. In the way that many folks have said Keanu was the only one who could be Neo, I think Snipes is Blade. Don't get me wrong, I'm totally stoked to see what Mahershala Ali does with the role. But as far as when these original 3 films got made, Snipes is just... he's perfect. He's stoic, but with the right amount of calling people mother effers. He's a loner, but clearly longs for companionship. He's committed to wearing sunglasses all the time, and somehow it's cool. It's genuinely hard to imagine anyone else doing this besides Snipes. He embraces the role, all of it, even the over-the-top stupid stuff. He committed to the bit. It's a truly memorable 3-movie performance, and while in my mind, Snipes will always and forever be the one and only Miss Noxeema Jackson, his tenure as Blade is a close second. Like I said before, I started doing these because the reboot was supposed to come out this year, but then I decided to just push on through because I love each of these movies in their own way, and I'll always be able to come back to them. Sorry, the teaser frame is already spoiled, but part 1 of next week's video is already up on Nebula right now. It's about 10 minutes long, and I covered up to the 3rd episode. Go check it out, and then watch Blue Eye Samurai.